Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT Drama. No soon has the season begun, but already Sentinels versus NRG are getting at it over the last 24 hours. Lots of drama between the coaching staff of the team, and the players decide to jump in to the mix as well. Very much enjoy your thoughts down below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to discuss. Firstly, Ascend confirming their full roster going into the VRL type thing, the regional leagues for next season. That's Ascend's team. Alive, Monster, Brody, Musashi, and Baddie G, of course. Oh, well, once again, as they like to do, very, well, big mix of nationalities on that team. And also, big confirmation from M80, confirming that Happy is going to be the final piece. You know, Happy with the one dig, oh, and another, oh, and a third, as I'm sure some of you guys know at least. But, yeah, kind of crazy, right? I think Happy was even briefly trying to maybe make it pro in Valorant or something. There was some talk about that, I think. Now he's going to be the head coach of the team. Makes a lot of sense. M80, there is a lot of optimism around the potential of this team. They've got a great starting roster, of course. A lot of the former Ghost Corps, couple of, Xander and the like as well from version 1. Now they've got an experienced veteran FPS gamer head coach in Happy, and I think this can work very well for them indeed. And even Zekken says, I think before Sentinels scrims them last night, that M80 won Ascension, and it won't even be close. So he reckons, again, there's some pros that seem to have mixed opinions on this. Some say maybe G2, some say the Guards, and some are saying M80 are the favourites to win Ascension because those three teams I just mentioned are already qualified, along with Shopify Rebellion, TSM, and FaZe Clan, of course, for the Challengers stage, and 6 teams will join them over the coming days, and we've got a lot of development on that as well over the coming minutes to also mention. Quick note as well before we talk about Sentinels, because as TenZ says, we're going to wide string everything, and Zekken says, of course, well, being this upcoming weekend, the Ludwig Tarek Invitational with Sentinels, T1, the Guard, and TSM featuring, and I guess there'll be a winner and a special show match, all this type of stuff. Also yesterday, 6.0 patch note. So Lotus is in the game. It's kind of, I don't think it's in the proper queue yet. It's in like its own queue. You have to play it in. I think they're going to give it a week and then add it to the proper queue. But Bind and Breeze are leaving temporarily. I wonder what changes they'll make there, because Split is now officially back in business. They've made, obviously, well, a relatively few number of changes. The map design philosophy is actually pretty much the same. There's only a few tweaks to the way they've laid out the map nowadays, which I think are good changes. Whether it's enough to really change the way the map plays, I'm not so sure, and I wonder what they'll do to Bind and Breeze. Will they do a similar thing, make some small tweaks and chuck them back in, or will there be more, significant changes to the way those maps are going to be played? Breeze, for example, the entrance to the sites, there's probably some other things they could do there in terms of, some extra elements to the map potentially, so we'll see what they do, but yeah, that is the other update on that front. Now, let's talk about this NRG versus Sentinels drama. It starts here and kind of finishes here as well, between Chet, the head coach of NRG, and Psycho, the head coach of Sentinels. Now, Chet begins with the following. If any VCT partner or challenger or upcomers want to go on Prac instead of Gangster, DM me or Mike's. So Mike's, I guess, is the 100 Thieves guy as well. Now, it seems to me that Prac and Gangster are kind of two ways that the teams schedule practice against each other. Now, some teams prefer using one, some teams prefer using the other, and I guess in an ideal world, everyone uses the same, therefore it's easy. However, not the case here. As Psycho goes on to say, surely we are not arguing to go back to that horribly outdated website. Gangster is rough right now, but at least the devs are involved in taking our input. So he reckons Gangster's the way to go, but Chet reckons go back to Prac. Apparently is one of the things, so, kind of classic coach drama. But it continues, I'd rather not be a beta tester for something that's critical to my job, saying that Gangster's maybe kind of rough around the edges. And then he goes on to say, so Psycho then comes back with the fire here. This is kind of where it all begins. I'd rather not use that outdated, terrible website for something critical to my job, and instead use a new site that's already more advanced with devs who take input. I honestly have no idea how you can be so delusional on this, mate. It's not better just because you are used to it. It's just straight up calling Chet delusional on this one, and this is kind of where Chet isn't just going to take this line down, right? So kind of surprising why the coaches are getting so mad about this particular, the way they use to schedule their practice, but nonetheless, it's relevant. Now, Chet then comes out with this, guess we are delusional, so he goes on Prac here, and you can see, all the teams, the Guard, Shopify, Rebellion, 100 Thieves, of course, Mike's is here, and the rest of these guys all using Prac, so he's like, well, look, a lot of us are using it, so we're not delusional for this. Fearing change and clinging to the past is the peak of laziness, says Psycho, and then Chet goes on to say, I guess Kaplan is the peak of laziness since he signed up for Sentinels. Either saying that Sentinels are like clinging to the past or fearing change or something, or he's just saying that in general Sentinels aren't necessarily the most practice-heavy organization. Now look, Psycho's trying to change the culture there. Whether that works, who knows, but still, pretty spicy I thought from Chet. And then FNS says, me personally, I wouldn't take this kind of slander, but that's just me. I'll call the tech balls and sort it out, don't worry, says Psycho. And then Chet says, do I need to bring a screenshot of our record versus your team again, and we'll see that here in a second. Now, then, before we look at that, we then get this reply from Psycho, which is very spicy indeed, and I've seen many things like this across different esports in the past, where players say stuff like this, or even coaches say stuff like this before the season begins. Doesn't always, sometimes it comes back to bite them, let's say. But Psycho says pretty much outright, we'll see how that shifts this year, as in your record, let's just say OpTic's record versus Sentinels this year, without Ye and Marved to carry. So he reckons that Ye and Marved, which maybe understandably so, were some of the key pieces to why the OpTic core was so successful. Now NRG with no Ye, with of course Artis instead, and Marved, no Marved, ShahZaM instead in that particular role. Without them carrying, the team is going to get a lot worse, and Sentinels are going to be a lot better. So yeah, pretty spicy, right? That already these guys are getting after it. And of course FNS says, wow, Artis, this kid straight up said you can't help us win. That's hella weird, right? Basically, I mean, it's fair point in a way. He's kind of saying, oh yeah, with no Ye, you guys are going to be terrible. And FNS is like, well, look, we're Artis, you're going to disrespect my guy Artis here. And I think before I said OpTic versus Sentinels, what I meant was OpTic versus Xset, right? Because that's where Psycho was before, with a couple of his guys, with zyppan, of course, was here, and Dephh was here as well. But yeah, of course, Chet then comes out with this, a screenshot of a key match they played against each other, where OpTic, of course, came out on top, and ShahZaM is like, sad face. So bros, this is going to be exciting to watch. And then they go on to say the following, man, these two dreams wouldn't do anything IRL, and you have obviously never met me, says Psycho. So yeah, kind of funny really, the Psycho and Wardell are now beefing in the replies. And Psycho's like, if I meet you IRL, I'm going to get a YouTube boxing match underway. And even as Ye says in the replies kind of, well, very shortly before this video was starting to be recorded, man, can we stop crypto betting on the ranked games? I'm trying to bet on these IRL matches between coaches. So there you go, guys. That's the drama of the day between Sentinels and NRG. Who's right? I don't know. But I thought maybe Psycho started it off calling Chet delusional, and then the entire NRG army kind of responded. But yeah, to me, the key comment to take of this is this one. We'll see how your record shifts this year without Ye and Marv to carry, and we'll see if that either comes back to be truthful to NRG's performances, or whether it comes back to hurt Sentinels and Psycho. Now, another big update of the day, which is a really cool piece of news actually, is that these guys, including Marved, are actually going to be playing at the last chance qualifier. Now, I'm not really sure why they didn't just play the first qualifier, right? Because there's a qualifier going on now. They could have entered now to get 2 chances at this, but they're just going to go to the last chance qualifier, where only 2 teams get through, but nonetheless they will be performing here. So we've got Marved, we've got Prod, we've got Zoms, Sinatraa and Dizzy, right, rounding out the team. So this is slightly different to the team they were initially going to have. And look, the difference in level between, now look, no incredible disrespect to Prod, but the difference in level between Prod and a guy like Marved is relatively substantial, but nonetheless, it's actually a pretty decent team. And I know they're probably doing this for content, but given the situation will be, they're actually going to play teams that are, not crazy good at this LCQ starting on the 17th of January. So I did wonder whether Sinatra's team was actually going to ever sign up. Apparently they have now signed up. They are going to play in this with a pretty crazy team. Emil's not here anymore. Shanks is not here anymore because he couldn't play because of the FaZe association. But yeah, Zoms and Marv running out the team. I'm sure it's kind of content focused, but if they win a couple of the rounds, they'll think, okay, I'm going to second it, guys. We can actually make this work. And yeah, hopefully they can. Now, updates, of course, on those challenger qualifiers. Firstly, some pretty crazy clips here from Scuba on Oxygen. Definitely Oxygen to me are one of the favorite teams to make it. They're looking very good as it stands and have advanced quite nicely through the bracket. I'll show you guys the bracket here in a second, because lots of upsets again yesterday, lots of maybe surprising teams going out of the tournament, but yeah, nonetheless, still some good results for the teams expected to. Steel had some pretty crazy stuff as well happening, because he went to defuse on a rope, and apparently it's like illegal or something. Some of the admins are saying that it's illegal, some of them are saying that it isn't, so like his teammate told him like, you can't do that, get off the rope or whatever. So like, I don't know, a bit of a weird one, kind of one of these things where it's a bug that can be done, but Riots just take ages to fix these type of things if it is meant to be a bug. So kind of unclear whether you can do that or whether you can't. Still did it to ensure they don't get their map forfeit, but they do win the series regardless. These are the key results then from yesterday. So first of all, Dark Ratio took down Perfect World, and then the Nation took down Dark Ratio. This, of course, the Nation team with Rossi, Wardell, Brax, Tig, and Stewie 2K. So and Tig was actually going off in this series as well. So pretty impressive stuff. Dark Ratio, that's Will's team, formerly 100 Thieves. They go down, and yeah, the Nation is showing some impressive promise so far. They've got to play the Silk Road in the upper quarterfinals. If they win that one, they're only 1 series away from qualification, which they might have to play Breakthrough here. I think this Breakthrough team is definitely one to watch as well. A Proto, Brook, Flyer, Thief, and Sim, Proto and Brook, formerly of that Ghost team, they're pretty good as well. So, pretty cool to see the Nation, Stewie, and co. They're having a good performance. They're not far off qualifying for challenges, which would be exciting stuff as well. As we go further down here, we'll see Disguise Toast team. They did make it through 2-1 in both of their series. Wasn't easy, but they are also in those quarterfinals. If they beat NRG NSIC, the team that knocked version 1, the female team, down to the low bracket, then they will, well, potentially play Oxygen Esports, right? Which, you know, Oxygen versus Neros Airport, pretty big game here as well, because some good players on both of these teams. Precision has been on fire so far. Calypso as well, you guys might know that name. So that's a big match as well, between the Nearest Airport guys, and the winner then qualifies, and that's pretty much it for the upper bracket there in terms of big updates. And then we look at the losers bracket. Already we've got version 1 knocked out of the tournament, unfortunately for them, by Rat Attack, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are the key updates of the day so far, and we're going to leave it there for now. So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Although Nation got dummy economy, but it's fine.
Wait, this is so smart from Brax.
Yeah?
He's baiting out everybody over towards A side, but the footsteps have already been called. Dark Ratio know about A.
This is big. Dark Ratio as well reads it perfectly. And as they look to fall down here, the Brax comes at the back. Easy two-piece. That's why it's Tuesday once again. Leaving them in a 2v2. Mano. But which mono gonna win?
Yeah. And just having reconnaissance over the site. Rossi's playing far down A long.
No shot. He's following him inside. He's like,
come
hey,
on.
I know you don't see him.
No
he's walking
way.
out, he's tiptoeing in his Jordans. He wanted to for himself. Yo, TIGG. What it do, baby?